All right, you can go on the internet. There's a ton of videos about red rain falling over, mysterious blood rain, 21st century in India. Now, it seems to be in India a lot. They're reporting it in India, let me put it that way. Now, I haven't seen it happen around here, so I can't really say exactly why this is happening in some specific areas, if that is in fact the case, and I don't know that to be for certain, but they indicated that it happened in this specific region. You know, it's happened everywhere, I guess, or a lot of places. I mean, even in Kentucky, meat literally fell from the sky. Literally meat, 1876, I think it was. Look it up, Kentucky meat shower. That's what they called it. Now, anyway, this happened in India, and it happened over a period of time too, and in a localized area is what they say. Now, I can't comment on that, but I can tell you that what they showed on the Science Channel this morning, and we're going to go over that. But you can look it up. It's all over the internet, and they have been avoiding it, and now they're going into a little more research. So let's see what they say on the Science Channel about it. And that's a very good place to learn about all kinds of crazy things. I mean, they're doing nice work, and I'm impressed.
Suggests the strange particles could be alive. They send samples of the red rain to microbiologists in the UK for further analysis.
We put them under the electron microscope, we look at them at far higher magnification, and we see more complexity, we can see more detail. I was convinced they were biological entities.
The scientists conduct a series of tests to check if there really is something living in the red rain.
So the next stage is to see if they've got DNA in them, because of course DNA is usually associated with life. We can do that very simply by using a stain which reacts with the DNA and lights up essentially under the microscope. And we do this and we find DNA.
They are unable to identify the DNA, but its presence in the red rain is undeniable.
The Earth's surface is teeming with life, and during volcanic eruptions that dust can be put high in the atmosphere. It just happened to be very common in the area where the red rain fell.
But further experiments by Lewis and Kumar do not support the government's assertion that the organisms in the rain are algae.
They expose the samples to heat, to radiation, to extreme pressure, to a whole host of different environments, and the samples remain unaffected.
There are few known Earth life forms whose cells could survive such harsh tests. The evidence leads Lewis and Kumar to make a startling claim.
These scientists say that the microbes come from outer space and have been delivered to Earth by a meteorite.
It's a possibility.
This goes back, let's see, this goes back a couple of years, December of 2015. I did this video about Comet 67P, that it was organic and it's got life on it. It's a life. It's life. And that is a tendon enthesis. I know it sounds insane, but look at this. European Space Agency, the organic comet. They're admitting it now. So we're going to look at that in a minute. But this was my video up here, and it's still up. You know, this was under my old channel, Mud Fossils. The new channel, as I hope you understand, is Mud Fossil University. Now, and these 3,200 hits in 2 or 3 years here, so nobody really paid any attention to anything I was saying. Now, this is the comet, and it is organic, and that is, and if you watch this, I explain exactly, like that's the tendon strap bundle. These are the cords in the tendon. These are the actual tendon straps. And when they shoot out the jets of stuff, those are the blood vessels that are hit by the sun, and it actually cooks the organic matter in it, and it shoots it out in jets out of the blood vessels. And they know that this is happening now. Whoops. And then I show how the type of minerals it is. And this is a sample of mine. You see this? I have the exact same thing. I have the exact same stuff here. And I show this. I show all the tendons. See this? These are the tendon straps that I have and the ones that I have here. I'll play this just for a second so you can see. That's a tendon, emphasis. Yep, there's my two double pointer. This is an old video. Again, this goes back 3 years or whatever it was. And those are the tendon straps. This is the gluey material between the actual tendon straps, and this glues it to the muscle. Where do you see this? You should really watch this video. It's an outstanding video. I don't say so myself. Now, that is the blood vessels here. The red and the black is the blood vessels that heavily invest this glue that holds these straps to the muscle. It'll go. I'm long-winded as always, but you see how absolutely break it. And these are the same things they found in Baalbek from the giants that are in Baalbek. That's how big these things can get. This is microscopic. You can see. You see my pointer. This is microscopic in my sample that I have here, but it is identical to the Comet 67P and to the Baalbek stone. This is right here. They just break these right off. They didn't cut them or anything. They fall apart, the blood in between. Now, we're going to move into the muscle. The muscle's right here. Here's what you have. That is like a band of glue. Now we're moving into the muscle. Look at this. This is so cool. I love this. I can't help myself. This is an abrupt transition. You see it right here? Between the gluey part we just saw a minute ago, and now we're moving into the muscle. See the muscle start to grow in here? You're going to see a lot of mineralized fibers. The white stuff is mineral, and that's like different collagens and keratins that make up the mix. Now you're going to see blood vessels in here, little tiny round blood vessels that feed it. You see the mineralized? You've got to have some really tough stuff to hold these muscles together in that early phase. Now I'm focusing in and out with my microscope as I'm doing this, but you'll see mineralized in, this is the limestone mineralized in with the muscle, and it starts to transition. These are the blood vessels that service it, and they will be here and there, and they infuse it. There's another abrupt transition. They know about these, but they can't see them like I can. My anatomical models exceed any other anatomical models in the world because they are the actual thing. And now they are mineralized and visual, and you can see these transitions in the molecules that you cannot see in living tissue. And that's a transition, that's a transition. All right, you see how the muscle fibers are going this way. Now we're going to get into the red muscle, which is much weaker. That's why they transition and break off. And at this point, they're gone. At that point, see this? How these are the blood vessels, and it still has some of the little mineralizations, these little white things. And as you get further and further into the red muscles, you lose most of that. And you have like straps now. You'll have these straps, and they will have the muscles in between them as they go. And that's the layering on the Earth that you find. So, and the Earth is made out of muscles and stuff too, and so is Mars. And so is this thing in space, 67P, and everything else that comes through space. Because I show meteorites and everything in here that have blood coming out of them that are falling over all over the Earth every day. I have one right here. Hold on one second. All right, if you can see that, I hope you can. That is the same stalk as that. This stuff here comes up the same way as it's coming up to that. This whole thing is the ball around, and it comes to the ball down here. Now I show all kinds of detail in this video, so you should come up and see this video. It is Comet 67P, mysterious features discussed, life, ? Now, organic matter here, they're showing, this is from the European Space Agency. These are people that went up and did it. The organic comet. All right, this is about the time I did this. As soon as I saw it, I knew what it was. I mean, there was no escaping it. Now, they're showing that it is organic as well, and they're going up and looking at it. Let's listen to what he has to say. All right, because I haven't even listened to this. I just noticed it now, to be honest with you. Let's see what they have to say. And again, this is
now
all...
at its closest point to the sun, the comet's...
This is all under the Fair Use Act. There's no profit being made here. We're commenting on what the statements are that are being made by the authorities that are... And so there's no copyright infringement.
Activity activity continues to be monitored by the Rosetta orbiter. As the mission learns more about how a comet changes during its orbit, our knowledge of its composition is increasing, thanks to new and recently published science. Not least that Comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko is mostly made up of space.
The interior is full of the hull, and we are measuring the porosity between 75 and 85% inside, which means that you have materials composed of ices.
This guy is totally wrong. This was too early in this thing.
Water ice or CO2 ice and dust materials.
The CONSERT instrument, which has two...
You see this? This was in 2015. He's completely wrong. Let's go to, see, I hadn't seen this, but they did realize there was all kind of organic molecules, but they had no clue of what they were going to come up against. Let me show you what they did find. All right, so you know, this was the second video I did after the final results. This was back in September 2017. And it talks about the giant creatures that are on the Earth and showing all of the evidence that supports it, 100% support for the things that I'm saying. And then I go into all the things that are being totally dismissed. And this is about Comet 67P, and it gets out here and shows the same stuff I showed before and all the tendon stuff. I don't know if you can see it down here, but that's what, and then I go out and I show this and how that's, you know, the same thing I was showing here with the, well, let me see, maybe we can see what's going on here. But it's basically the same thing that I just showed you a minute ago. There's the tendon enthesis ball, and there's the stalk. And that is the same as is going to be in the picture behind is the stalk and the tendon. Again, I'm sure I'm long-winded at this, but there's the stalk and the tendon. I mean, that's what it is. So, and this is another one. This is a 23-minute video, and this goes into extreme details, and then it goes into all the DNA testing that I did, and you know, all kinds of stuff. And into the stuff that's in the desert, and there's a gigantic. I mean, you're just going to have to go up here and look and to start to learn the truth about, you know, our true history. All right, this is Comet Rosetta. This is from the Rosetta mission. It's Comet 67P, and there's a big long name for it, Gerasimo Churyumov or something like that. But it's Comet 67P if you're ever looking for it. Now. When they went out there, they found tiny little dust grains. Ooh, there's a little carbon out here, and there's a little this. Well, guess what? When they did the big grain intensity stuff, they found our analysis reveals carbon in a far more complex form than expected. This guy, Herv Cotton, a co-author on a new study, which is at the very end of their mission, said in a statement, "It is so complex, we can't give it a proper name or a formula or a name. Too complex to give it a formula or a name." It's not too complex, it's life. It's absolutely life. There's no question it's life. These are all of the molecules of life. Carbon, hydrocarbons, iron, silicon, sodium, carbon. And now they realize it, and now they don't know what to do. The finding is significant for a few reasons. For one, it builds off earlier discoveries made by Philae, that's the lander, in the hours before its batteries went dead. Now, they go on and on and on about this, but, well, they don't go on that much more, to be perfectly honest with you, but they understand now that this thing is the chemistry of life. And, well, it says, while Philae only sniffed very light gaseous organic compounds as volatiles, the new analysis focused on large solid particles indicate more complex organic chemistry. I just showed you what it is. It is a tendon. Now, that tendon is gigantic. The creatures that are on the Earth are gigantic. The creatures that are in space were gigantic. And as far as I'm concerned, there is nothing in space that was not alive. I haven't found anything. Mars was alive. I'm almost 100% certain the moon was alive, or still is. Mars is dead, as I can pretty much guarantee that. Earth is still alive. So if you think this is all silly, well, I'm sure you thought Comet 67P would be silly to be considered a tendon enthesis. And if you still think that, well, all I can say is then you better look it over again, because you missed a lot. It's not dead dust. It's not an ice ball. And they know this now. And I have videos up here. I've been following this since before they knew, had a clue what it was. And it is from life, and it now has been proven to be from life. This is what I've been waiting for, and the results is in. And they just ignore it and go on about their lives. I've sent all this stuff to the Johnson Space Center and to all of them, and European Space Agency, every one of them. And I did get a couple of people talk to me, but they just shut me right off. Said, well, we don't, blah, 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 and that was it. So nobody's ever going to find out anything until they really start looking at things in a more critical way and stop getting worried about your peers. You're going to have to stand up for yourself sometime and go for reality. At some point, this is going to have to stop.